Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Chris Maloney back with you for another episode of the Throwdown with Chris Maloney, episode number 4. And if you're watching on video, you can see me making the 4 horsemen sign. If you're watching on video live, thank you very much. We are on Facebook, Twitch, as well as YouTube right now. And then if you're listening on audio post, thank you very much, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, if I can slow down, Spotify, and all of that above and everything that's a platform out there. Thank you very much as well. My name is Chris Maloney, London, Ontario, Canada, of course. Maybe the final time that I actually wear the Boston Red Sox hat. It is sentimental to me. I got it on Father's Day. Nope, the other side. So if I took off my hat, you'd see the initials BMCE, and it's very important to me. The very end of the show, the graphics that you see, BMCE, very important. So it's there's a I shouldn't say backstory there, but there's a relevance of importance why it's on my hat and why it's the final logo you see at the end of the show. So yeah, so I want to make note of that. It is a cold day. It is September 28th. Can't believe October is like right around the corner. I mean, you go from NXT taking place on Saturday night to AEW taking place on Sunday, and AEW taking place on the Sunday is October. And it's it's hard to believe it's already October coming up, but it's exciting weekend. It's been an exciting week, as far as wrestling goes, mixed martial arts, of course, and Canadian independent wrestling. It's interesting that last week, I had done the show on the Wednesday with Sean Bates of Hammerlock Pure Wrestling, and then all the news that broke out. So some of this is going to seem almost a little bit irrelevant when I talk about it, but since I did my last show last Wednesday on the 20th, it's very relevant to this show here. Like I said, if you're watching, listening, thank you very much. Red Sox officially eliminated from the playoffs, wild card contention. It's always next year, I'll say that as I'm not a Maple Leafs fan, but I'll say that the way that they say it. It's you go into the season, and I'm true to this. To me, anyways, it's as a Red Sox fan, I always think World Series, and then there's always next year, So, but 86 years they went without a championship. So, and then they've won, I think, 4 since 2004 at that. I'm getting old. So anyways, hardcore Red Sox fan, but it might be the final time for this year. Anyways, you see me wearing this hat. Blue Jays, I got to say it because my wife's a Blue Jays fan, have played 158 games, 4 games remaining in the season. So 162 games in the regular season as far as baseball goes. Seattle is a game and a half back. They also have played 158 games. So that being said, I think it's Houston, the Jays, and then Seattle is on the cusp. And with that being said, Houston or the Blue Jays could get knocked out. If the playoffs started tomorrow, and the records were as they are right now, yes, the Jays would be in as well as Houston in the wild card, and Seattle would be out. But it's going to be a hectic 4 games. And I know my wife the past couple of days has been watching TV. She'll be watching the Blue Jays, and the next thing you know, they've been playing the Yankees. I know that much. And she's had turned off the TV last night and watched Netflix instead because she just she gets really into it. She loves her Jays winning. She loves them being in the playoffs. But if they, for whatever reason, are choking, forget about it. She'll turn that TV off. That's what she did yesterday. But, Blue Jays, Red Sox are out. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see them make the playoffs. I'll say that for my wife as well as my daughter, Emma, who's also a huge Blue Jays fan, as well as many members of my family. So I don't understand why. Pats 1-2. They won last week against the Jets. So thank God for that. They're not 0-3. They're 1-2. They played Dallas on Sunday in Dallas. I think it's the 4:00 game. So I think it's the afternoon game. I don't think it's at night. Fantasy football for me right now, ESPN, I'm 1-2. NFL, I'm 1-2. So I got wins for both of those there. I got my butt basically handed to me as far as ESPN fantasy football went last week. I had like 130 points. If you follow fantasy football, it's everything I do is with regards to points. And the guy who beat me had like 190. He had like a wide receiver, running back, had like 45 points, which is unheard of because quarterbacks themselves usually will top out about 25 points. And like I said, he had a running back, wide receiver. I forget which one it was, but he had like 45 points. I was done. And I was done like well before his last player played, I think on Monday night, this past Monday. Anyways, fantasy hockey I signed up for. Excited about it because I was first overall pick. And I'm excited. So I drafted Conor McGregor. So not Conor McGregor. Can you imagine him playing hockey? Drafted Connor McDavid. And he is predicted, so ESPN Fantasy Hockey, he is predicted to have 61 goals, 87 assists this year. And if that's the way it's going to be, I'm excited because I don't plan on losing, as far as fantasy hockey goes. I think I won, I don't know if it was hockey or football last year. But I get really excited about fantasy football and hockey, not so much about basketball or baseball, maybe eventually. So fantasy hockey starts up, I think, next week or the week after, I think 2 weeks away. And I'm excited about it. And it's different because the players play pretty much every night, but stats themselves are rounded out throughout the week. So you could be losing midway through the week and have somebody have a great game on like Saturday night and win that week. So I'm excited anyways. And also excited about this viewership and listenership. Thank you very much. It's interesting, especially on YouTube, to see the hits I've been getting, the traffic I've been getting hit with. And I haven't gone into the stats yet to see how much listenership, viewership, so to speak, how long people are listening or what parts or whatever the case may be. I haven't done it in a long time. I do this for fun. I do it because it gives me something to do. It's a hobby. I love doing this. But thank you very much for the stats. Episode number 4 of the Throwdown, Chris Maloney, and it's been going well. So I want to continue, and I've missed, like I said, doing this episode 1, 27 months. Since I had done like a real podcast, and it was great having Sean on last week. And I'm going to do more interviews. It's just a matter of time and who I think should be on the show. And I'm not saying it as to be an a-hole, but I'm just I don't want to do an interview that everybody else is doing, so to speak. So I like to the people behind the scenes, so to speak, like promoters. Other fellow podcasters, so to speak. I've done an interview with Greg Oliver from Slam Wrestling. He co-founded Slam Wrestling, so that was a cool interview to do. So, and then historical throwbacks. I know I mentioned that with regards to some of the shows I've done, and I'm going to see what I can do with that. I'm going to see if I can launch maybe an episode and throw in one of my episodes. And I've got lots of interviews I've done. The past 20 years or so. And I'll have to go back and listen to the interviews, of course. And some of them aren't PG, so to speak. But that being said, I'm going to say this. Birthday. Daryl Sharma is 39 years old on the 30th. The relevance of him is he used to be known as Hornet. If you go on to cwnonline.ca, go to exclusive, and then go to interviews, you'll see an interview way back in the day with Daryl Sharma before he was NXT referee. He was known as Hornet. Pretty sure that wasn't PG, but you can check that out. cwnonline.ca, of course. But Daryl Sharma, NXT referee, 39 years old on the 30th anniversary of Antonio Inoki passing away on October 1st. So this coming Sunday, 79 years old. It was SSA, and I looked it up on Wikipedia. I was like, I can't pronounce that, but basically SSA is heart and tendon disease, but 79 years old, and the legacy of Antonio Inoki, his first anniversary of his passing coming up this Sunday. Birthday, Waddle Von Erich. He was born on October 2nd, 1933. Also my sister's birthday. Happy birthday to my sis. Happy early birthday to my sis. Passed away July 5th, 2009 at the age of 75 years old. No relation to the Von Erichs, by the way. And that movie coming out, I think December. I forget the date, but the Iron Claw, I think it's called, coming out in December. So I'm looking forward to that. Birthday, Alexis Alligator Davis, 39 years old on the 4th. She is a Canadian mixed martial artist. And anniversary, and this it's kind of relevant to this week, actually. So you've got Brian Pillman, who passed away on October 5th, 1997. The age of 35 years old, so young. I'm 47, so that would be 12 years ago for me. It's way too young. And heart attack, but it came out later on that it was due to heart disease. So his father had passed away from the same thing. So Brian Pillman, sorry, 35 years old. He passed away on October 5th. So, guys, as I've been doing the past little bit, and I'm going to throw up graphics eventually, maybe next week. If I do a show next week, I'm probably going to do a show next week. But tidbits as well as topics. So tidbits is just kind of stuff I want to mention, and because it's been relevant the past week, and then topics which I'm going to go more in depth with. So tidbits: WWE returns to Australia with Elimination Chamber Perth. That was announced on the 21st. Our article reads, WWE TKO Group Holdings Company, still getting used to that, is bringing, summary, so to speak, Saturday, February 24th, Perth, Western Australia, WWE's first event in Australia since 2018, slow down, and the only PLE in Asia Pacific region in 2024. So Elimination Chamber, and as they have stated, is the go home PLE to WrestleMania. It was in Montreal this year, absolutely phenomenal. And to see it come, to Perth, Australia next year is going to be cool as well. And I shouldn't say not big, but not sure how big the stadium or the arena is that they're going to. I'm going to see if I can bring that up, actually. Let me see. I got the article here in front of me. They are going to... Yeah, too long of an article. I can't. I don't know if it actually. Never mind. It's right there in front of me. Geez, I wear readers, and I'll admit that, and I'm not necessarily sure I'll ever wear them on this show. But the graphic, first thing it says, Optus Stadium. So Optus Stadium there in Perth, Australia. So that is. I'm gonna move on. I've embarrassed myself already. Geez. AEW Collision last Saturday night. That was the 23rd. Christian Cage and New. You kind of thought it was going to happen anyways. So Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, Darby Allin, and Christian Cage gets the pin. Luchasaurus wasn't too happy afterwards. You raising Christian's hand and then basically having to put him on his shoulders. But fact is, it's you saw it coming a mile away. New Japan Destruction and Kobe notes: ZSJ versus Will Ospreay made official for Royal Quest 3. That was on the 24th. This is interesting because of something I saw earlier tonight. Sami Callihan confirms impending free agency, Impact contract expiring. That was announced on the 25th, followed up by tonight, right before I went on the show. This was on Instagram, courtesy of Sami Callihan's official account. Breaking: for the first time in almost 3 years, I will be taking select indie bookings for matches, seminars, signings, appearances, etc. DMs are open. Not sure I can picture Sami Callihan outside of Impact Wrestling at this point. He's been such a staple all the way back to the days of Tessa Blanchard, obviously OVE, and, doing his thing now. And with Rich Swann, they're tagging tonight as far as Impact goes. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Sami Callihan, where he's going to land. I think he's going to land back in Impact. That being said, I'll get more into it during the show. Because there's more thoughts I want to say with regards to Impact Wrestling and as far as people leaving the company. And Sami Callihan, it's up in the air. I'm pretty sure I can see him re-signing by the end of the year. But that being said, I'll get into it a little bit more. Hometown honors Highlander Robbie, Slam Wrestling article on the 25th. I'm going to bring that up here because I thought it was cool. So Robbie McAllister had officially retired and then slowly had got back into it. And then getting back into it, he actually moved back to the Maritimes, and now he was honored. And this was, like I said, on the 25th. This was, like I said, by Slam Wrestling. Greg Oliver had made the post. There's a picture: City of Woodstock Sports Wall of Fame 2023, presented to Derek Couch, his real name, in the category of individual male athlete in recognition of your outstanding accomplishments in professional wrestling. And, he got honored by the city of Woodstock there, 49 years old, and one half of the Highlanders. And congrats to Robbie McAllister. I've only got to meet him. I've got to see him wrestle quite a few times, but I only get to meet him once, and that was at the London Music Hall. Maybe I'll present, well, not present, but I'll show everybody next week. I've got a Smash Wrestling hat signed by a whole bunch of people. and Robbie McAllister was just kind of sitting in the background at the bar watching the show. And I was like, hey, that's Robbie McAllister. And I had the hat and had my Sharpie. Went up to him. I said, would you mind signing this for me? So sure enough, on the Smash Wrestling hat, there's signatures, I'm Robbie. And then he smiled, gave me back the hat and shook his hand and said, thank you very much. But very cool guy. But I'll get into my story about the Highlanders some other show, because a lot of news to talk about this week. So from there, guys, we got Stacker 2 and Trish Stratus joined forces once again. So that was released on the 25th. So she's going to be a spokesperson for Stacker 2. Apparently, they've had a huge relationship in the past. Parts of me remember this. But yeah, you can check it out, trishstratus.com for the full article, or you can go to cwnonline.ca to check it out there as well. Pro Wrestling returns to Toronto on Saturday, November 11th. Stars from the 1980s Impact Provincial Wrestling Federation, so IPWF, are in action. So they it's kind of cool because they got unique characters. I mean, you've seen Scott D'Amore transform into another character. Josh Alexander usually dresses up like a lumberjack. But yeah, that's taking place officially in Toronto. Battle Arts Academy, I think, or is it Don Koloff? I'm going to bring that up here. Just one sec, guys. And I put my articles too close to episode number 4 notes, so I'm kind of getting confused. I'm not going to do that again. Where are we here? Oh, there we go. Like I said, I'm getting old. Where are we here? So Superstars of the Yesteryear coming back once again. Impact Wrestling confirmed today. Throwdown 4 is set for Saturday, November 11th. 1980s, stars from 1980s, the IPWF. Retro Night taking place, Battle Arts Academy, Don Koloff Arena, officially in Mississauga. Mississauga, Etobicoke, Scarborough, all classified as Toronto. But yeah, that's officially taking place. So look forward to seeing that. Like I said, Josh Alexander, the lumberjack, is usually on the card. From there, talking earlier with regards to the passing of Bryan Pillman Jr., I can never pronounce that word. Promo aired on WWE NXT. That was on the 26th, so this past Tuesday. So I was watching NXT and I was like, what is this? And they show this clip. They show this promo, and it's this guy sitting, I think, in a chair with the remote control in his hand, flipping the channels. And it's all this kind of nonsense on TV. It's like, so there was a football game, and all of a sudden it's WCW Saturday Night appears. And I'm like, what is the relevance of this? And on the next thing it goes back to Vic Joseph and Booker T. Well, go on the internet later, and I'm like, man, I am dumb. And so sure enough, it's a promo with regards to the Cincinnati Bengals, which was played with a football clip. And Bryan Pillman Jr. watching his dad on WCW Saturday Night. So they're throwing heavy into the Bryan Pillman Jr. gimmick, which I think is great. Have him come out in Bengals colors, whatever the case may be. I'm glad, because I think, and I'll say this, AEW, I believe, wasted Bryan Pillman Jr. To see him in NXT, I think is absolutely cool. To see the promo that played this past Tuesday, knowing the relevance of it now, I think is absolutely cool. I think they should continue with the promos, maybe lead into their next PLE, or whether or not they bring him out on TV, I don't know. But I'll get more into that as well. Butch asks Tyler Bate to corner him at WWE NXT No Mercy. That was on the 27th, so yesterday. So it's going to be cool. So Butch doesn't trust basically Noam Dar, as far as the metaphor goes and everything else. So he's asked Tyler Bate, British Strong Style, to be in his corner for one night and one night only. So that's going to take place this coming Saturday. Complete History Christians Coalition, that was released yesterday on Impact's YouTube account. Over 2 hours of it. So if you're a fan of Christian Cage, go check it out. It's on Impact on YouTube. Haven't posted on CWN yet, but you can check it out on YouTube for the Impact Wrestling channel. AEW Fight Forever Hookhausen, very handsome, very evil pack, available now. That was released with regards to AEW Fight Forever. Haven't played that game in forever. I may do it just to have Danhausen become AEW World Champion. We'll see. Becky Lynch on Seth Rollins as a dad. Her shameful WWE debut, Becoming the Man. That came out today. Chris Van Vliet on YouTube. Big fan of Chris Van Vliet, but guys, check that out. His interview with Becky Lynch. I think it went about 40 minutes or so. I haven't listened to it yet, but guys, check that out on his channel. This was scary. Trey Miguel, Ashley Demboise, I want to say I pronounced that right, involved in a hit and run accident. That came out today. So apparently they were on the highway down there in Florida, and the F-150 had crashed into a car crashed into them. They hit a pole, hit and run, vehicle takes off. They're okay, but thoughts, prayers, and strength are with them right now. That's scary. Both of them engaged earlier this year. And it's scary. Just you see them on TV and you take life for granted sometimes, and the next thing you know, the car accident, and it could have been worse. So thank you. Thank God that Trey and Ashley are okay. WB announces new media rights for Japan, so they are going to go on. And why can't I remember this right now? They are part of New Japan World when they do the big pay-per-views there. So, Abima. I remember that before I got to my notes. So Abima, yeah. So WB is going to be showing for free on Abima with regards to their shows. XFL and USFL announced intent to merge. That came out today as well. I try to be a fan of the XFL. I was back in the day. Like when I say back in the day, I'm talking like the early mid 2000s, I think it was. Vince tried to bring it back, and all of a sudden that went south. And then all of a sudden, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, who I'm a huge fan of, brings it back, and it's not working. So, I mean, NFL's a powerhouse, CFL up here in Canada, NCAA football, Michigan Wolverines, go blue. But fact is, yeah, it's interesting to see them merging, but it's kind of sad all at the same time. NXT deadline set for Bridgeport, Connecticut on December 9th. I'll get more to that later, but that was announced today. So that's going to be a PLE. I think Brian Pillman Jr., if they could hold out, could wait until then, come out on that show. I think that would be huge. And then pre-match show confirmed for WWE NXT No Mercy. Kalani Jordan taking on Blair Davenport. That is set up for the pre-show this coming Saturday night. So guys, topics. AEW Dynamite Grand Slam 2023. I know it's been over a week, but Kingston, congrats. Eddie Kingston wins the ROH World Championship. Claudio Castagnoli shakes his hand after the match and then takes off from the ring. I thought that was a good show of respect. We get and new with regards to Ray Phoenix. Moxley apparently caught an audible. I was watching this show and I was like, what the heck is with Rick Knox, the referee? And the next thing you know, Mox, being the badass that he is, takes the pile driver again and new. And it was interesting because the way, if you watch it, and obviously, I mean, they're showmen, right? So, Ray Phoenix is going to show great emotion in winning the championship. But it was Alex Abrahantes, his reaction. I was like, he doesn't look like this was planned. And then sure enough, it wasn't planned when it came out. Mox apparently is okay. It wasn't talked about on the media call, which I'll get into as well. But that was big. Adam Cole getting injured at that show was big as well, but it wasn't confirmed. No confirmation as well on the TK, so Tony Khan media call that took place on the 26th. Then we get to AEW Dynamite last night. Officially, Cole is injured. MJF decides he's going to do a handicap match at WrestleDream against the Righteous. And then we get the MJF Switchblade promo last night, which I thought was friggin' phenomenal. And then the double beatdown on White to end the show as the camera went to black. I think it's MJF, the lovable scumbag, so to speak. But then the same time, he's got the devil character going, and he's got his posse. And having his posse beat down on Jay White at the end of the show, it makes Jay White look like a babyface. So it's going to be interesting to see how that feud there plays out. Impact 1000 highlights last week. Week 2, Angels becomes the new number 1 contender for the X Division Championship. Basically won the match, said he wasn't going to wait to cash in, wear that stupid thing around his neck, and then basically said he's fighting tonight. I'll get more into that. Uemura got fired. Gail Kim took a bad bump. She's okay. Bailey Ospreay set up for Bound for Glory. Shelly Alexander set up for Bound for Glory. I'm not rushing through this. It's just I'll have more to talk about getting into further into the show. But 2 huge matches made for Bound for Glory there. SmackDown returns to USA Network as part of a 5-year agreement between the WWE and NBC Universal. So this is big. So I'm going to bring up the article here just because there's points, highlights that are in this article that I definitely want to talk about here. So just give me a sec. So SmackDown returns to USA Network, like I said, 5-year agreement. 5-year domestic media rights partnership that will bring Friday Night SmackDown back to USA Network beginning October 2024. Additionally, beginning in 2024-2025 season, W will produce 4 primetime specials per year that will air on NBC, marking the first time WWE will air on the network in prime time. God, if I can talk. Goes on to talk about stats. Nick Khan makes a statement, very excited to bring them back to the USA Network. So the big question is this, and With regards to WWE going back to USA with regards to SmackDown, so Fox decided the price was too high or they didn't want to do anything with regards to wrestling anymore. That being said, we've got AEW's contract with Warner coming up. Whether or not they decide to jump over to Fox and whether or not Fox would take them, I don't know. So with WWE Friday Night SmackDown going back to USA Network in 2024, the specials being announced could be Saturday Night's main events, could be Friday Night's main events, could be anything with regards to the tribute to the troops, could be anything, but 4 specials. So you're guaranteed 4 specials between 2024 and 2025 from October to September. That being said, what happens with, and there's been a lot of talk since that announcement came out last week, a lot of talk with regards to what happens with Raw and what happens with NXT. Does Raw stay on USA? If Raw stays on USA, does NXT get packaged into that deal as well? Or does NXT find a new home? And if NXT finds a new home, and I listened to a media call earlier, which I'll touch base on just in a bit with regards to Shawn Michaels, he thought NXT, and it was a pretty good analogy, so to speak. WWE, so to speak, is basically going on to a job. NXT is like your college university days. And Michaels had said in his media call today, he thinks NXT should be on some kind of cooler platform. And with that being said, do they go streaming? Do they go to a place like Amazon, Netflix, whatever the case may be, Disney Plus? Who knows? You know, NXT is a little bit edgy, so I can't say them being on Disney Plus. But the fact is, do you maintain USA Network as the be-all and end-all as far as WWE programming goes, or do you branch them out? Do you keep Raw and SmackDown on USA and move NXT out, or do you have them on 3 separate networks? I don't know. Nick Khan is a smart guy. He's going to get the best bang for the buck, so to speak. And with that being said, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Raw and NXT. But SmackDown, like I said, next year, 2024, officially going back to USA Network. And from what I understand, officially going back to Friday at this point. That could change. The other things people had talked about as well this week was whether or not WB stays on USA. And if they don't stay on USA, do we officially see Raw for the first time really ever move to a different night? And that would be weird as well. Can you imagine no Monday night wrestling? That being said, though, they are getting hammered by the NFL right now, so it's going to be an interesting time. This last week, you knew it was coming. Merger takes place. UFC, WWE, TKO officially in the books, and we heard about a lot of talk with regards to contracts and hiring freezes and everything else. Well, everything hit last week. So releases, biggest ones: Dolph Ziggler, Shelton Benjamin, Emma, Dana Brooke, Mace, Mansoor, and then following them, the official release of Matt Riddle. And Mustafa Ali was part of that as well. It's a long list of people, unfortunately, lost their jobs, NXT people as well. Guys, you can check that out, cwnonline.ca. And my wife just got home, so let me see if she trips over the cord. I've got a long cable because I was running into issues a while ago with regards to not having good signal. So it's a big blue cord running from one side of the apartment to the other. But anyways, I'll leave it at that. But yeah, so guys, cwnonline.ca with regards to the releases. It's been news for a good week, but of the top names, like I said, Benjamin, Dolph Ziggler, Mustafa Ali, and Matt Riddle, and whether or not AEW Impact Wrestling picks up on those guys, we'll have to wait and see. From there, yeah, I'm going to talk about this now. So, report: PCO gives notice to Impact Wrestling. That was released on the 23rd, so last Saturday. Then PCO talks Impact Wrestling negotiations, free agency, and AEW Montreal. That came out today on a podcast with Pat LaPrade. Much respect to Pat. And with regards to me holding off earlier on with regards to talking about certain stuff, well, I just talked about the releases of WB, and the contract talks between PCO had broken down. It looked like it was going to be happening twice. Sami Callihan coming out tonight on Instagram and basically saying, hey, he's basically doing independence for the first time in 3 years. Now, keep that in mind. COVID, everybody dealt with COVID in the pandemic in the past couple of years. So keep that in mind with Sami Callihan's words there on Instagram. But one of the things I had read, one of the things I had seen was with regards to, well, now all of a sudden you got Matt Riddle and you got Shelton Benjamin, you got Dolph Ziggler, You got Emma, you got Riddick Moss, you've got Mustafa Ali. And Mustafa Ali is very talented, is never used properly down there in NXT. Well, I can't say NXT primarily, but WWE for sure. And what do you do with these guys? So if you're Impact Wrestling, do you not sign somebody who's mid-50s in PCO? And that's not a knock against PCO. That's a business decision there. Do you not sign a guy like Sami Callihan, who is up there in age as well? And he's been around forever. Because you don't sign those guys, you have more money now to sign these new releases. So you've also got Peyton Royce, who has, they had their baby, her and Sean Spears, is back doing the independent scenes. She's got a show, I think, coming up in November, I want to say, for Neo in Niagara Falls. So she's back on the horizon. It's going to be interesting because Emma, Tennille Dashwood, so many ties with regards to Impact Wrestling as well, and could bring her husband in as part of the mix. So it's going to be very interesting, and it reminds me of a couple of years ago when the same thing happened. They're going into Bound for Glory season, and these new faces, the new releases, and it's going to be interesting towards the end of the year to see who Impact picks up, see who AEW picks up. It's been mentioned on certain podcasts that I listen to with regards to AEW having the talent that they have because they don't have as many. They can't use all their talent because they don't have enough time, and there's so much wrestling on TV as it is. So if AEW decides to sign anybody, who's getting released, and it's an interesting time in wrestling. I tell you that. I hope it works out for PCO. I'd love to see him back in Ring of Honor, but that's up in the air as well. I'll get more into that in a minute. So WWE officially signs Jade Cargill. Talked about that last week with regards to whether or not the WWE is going to be interested in her. Multi-year deal. Pictures, video had come out of her down at the Performance Center. I was kind of thinking, hey, is she going to make an appearance on NXT this past Tuesday? But it didn't happen. And obviously, she's a huge deal. Shawn Michaels basically called her phenomenon today on the media call, and she is. I mean, it's whether or not she can learn that WWE style. She had stated on social media today, though, I think it was today, with regards to, hey, getting used to the new WWE schedule. And she was like, if I didn't think I couldn't do it, I wouldn't have signed up for that contract. So, good for her. Interesting to see what happens. And I had said on this show, I don't think it was last week, I think it was the week before, with regards to Jade and her against Bianca Belair. Man, what a contest that would be. Two women in shape who tear the house down. Her against Charlotte, Jade against Charlotte Flair. That'd be phenomenal as well. MLW. Oh, no, not yet. Well, I'll mention this now and then I'll go into the other one. MLW, CMLL, and New Japan Pro Wrestling unite for Landmark's Strategic Alliance. That's the old age in me once again. Lost where I was going. Again, the old age. Anyways, but they're in partnership right now, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. AEW WrestleDream 2023 media call with Tony Khan. Listen to that. You can check it out on cwbonline.ca. I released that on the 26th, so 2 days ago. He talked about Jade, wishing her well. Talked about HBO Max briefly. Talked about the New Japan Pro Wrestling rumor that apparently is on the internet. I didn't even know about, of him buying New Japan. That if that happens, I'm going to be PO'd. Don't get me wrong. I had good seats when I went to go see Forbidden Door this past June in Toronto. I love New Japan Pro Wrestling. I like AEW for the most part. I can't say I love them. I don't love everything they do, but I'm a fan of theirs. But if Tony Khan takes a hold of New Japan Pro Wrestling the same way he took a hold of ROH, forget about it. I will. New Japan to me is the be all and end all of wrestling, and I've been a fan of WB since the age of 3, but I do know. Anyways, I don't even want to get into that. And then the other one that was followed up was Goodbye ROH. So the podcast I listened to, they talk about too many titles between AEW and ROH, and take the titles and merge them. But then if you do that, are you going to have one company? And are we saying goodbye to ROH? And I'm not happy about that one either. I wasn't happy when they officially, kind of went downhill. And then basically when Tony Khan took them over, kind of did nothing with them for, I think, a good 6 to 8 months, and then slowly brought them back. And it's on tonight as I talk, so to speak. Don't want to see that happen either. So I don't want to see the end of ROH. And like I said, the media call is available on CWN. Very good interview. The audio wasn't the greatest with regards to it, but anyways, you get the gist of what they talk about on the call there. Bryan Danielson fully cleared for AEW WrestleDream. That came out today. Good for him. He's somebody, guys, I'm going to say this as a wrestling fan, enjoy him while he lasts. He's getting older. His kids are getting older. He wants family time. He's getting injured in the ring. Obviously, it's I saw what I was there. I didn't realize he got injured, but I saw him get injured in that match against Okada back in June. And so guys, this coming Saturday night when he's wrestling Zack Sabre Jr., just be a wrestling fan. Just enjoy his work, especially that match there, submission match. And then Shawn Michaels, WWE NXT media call, talked about CM Punk, talked about Jade Cargill, Gable Steveson, talked about NXT coming up this Saturday, as well as lots more. Wasn't privileged to that. Don't have WWE media rights yet. I say yet. But check that out. You can go to WrestlingObserver.com. So WrestlingObserver.com and check out the audio there. That's where I got it from. Impact matches tonight. Trinity taking on Giselle Shaw, non-title. Mike Bailey, Speedball, taking on Jonathan Gresham. Chris Sabin defending the X Division Championship against Alan Angels. I'll say this, guys. So spoilers are out there. I even think I posted the spoilers on CWN, but I never read them as far as Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling is one of those go-tos I love and enjoy and watch. And one of the reasons I try to get off the air by 8 o'clock tonight, it's on PVR, but I still try to get off the air by 8 o'clock tonight. But yeah, Sabin defended the X Division Championship against Alan Angels. And I haven't seen the results of that, and I don't want to. I want to watch the match as a wrestling fan. Dreamer and Heath taking on Kenny King and Sheldon Jean. Rhino in action, Uemura goodbye ceremony. I was baffled last week. I thought with the whole way that everything was going, Crazy Steve was going to get be the one to get the briefcase. Again, don't post the spoilers, but don't necessarily read the spoilers. So when I saw Uemura and the look on Joe Hendry's face as the briefcase was getting opened, and you saw fired inside the briefcase, and all of a sudden they presenting a goodbye ceremony tonight. I listened to Brian Alvarez, Dave Meltzer talk about it, and Meltzer was honestly surprised about Uemura going back potentially to Japan. He's one of those gifted talents that I shouldn't say surprised Impact Wrestling landed as long as they have, but he seemed like a great kind of a younger version of Tanahashi for Impact Wrestling, and that was absolutely cool. So knowing there's a goodbye ceremony tonight, like I said, I haven't seen the spoilers. I'm hoping there's a twist with regards to it. Probably going to be disappointed, but if he goes back to New Japan, he gets to see him anyways. But just the comical side of him with Joe Hendry has been cool as well. Callihan Swan taking on Laredo Kid and Black Taurus as I speak, probably about 10 minutes from now on BTI. You can check that out on YouTube. Upcoming PLE pay-per-view special events taking place. NXT No Mercy 2023. Hayes Dragunov, Lynch and Stratton Extreme Rules match. Mysterio and Trick. Dara and Butch and Heritage Cup match. Fatal 4-way tag team match, of course. Breaker and Corbin and Jordan and Davenport announced for the kickoff by Shawn Michaels today. WrestleDream 2023 in honor of Antonio Inoki taking place on Sunday the 1st. Danielson at ZSJ, Swerve and Hangman, MJF and the Righteous on 2-on-1 handicap match. FTR and Aussie Open, Christian and Darby Statlander and Julia for the TBS Championship. Bucks, Guns, OC and Hook, and Lucha Bros in a fatal four-way match, whatever you want to call it. Winners go on to be number one contenders for the titles, the AEW titles, that is. And then you've got Kingston and Shibata. That's going to be a stand-up friggin' match. And then Ricky Starks taking on Wheeler Yuta. Fastlane on the 7th. Announced so far, Rollins Nakamura last man standing match. And then Cena and rumored, if he's healthy, LA Knight to be taking on Jimmy Uso as well as Solo Sikoa. And that is going to be a huge night for for LA Knight if he's able to be part of that show. New Japan Destruction and Ryogoku. I've got to learn how to pronounce that. That's taking place on the 9th. The reason I mentioned that, Ishii, Okada, and Tanahashi defending the never openweight 6-man tag team championship against the Motor City Machine Guns and Canada's own Josh Alexander. And Alexander posted on social media that one of the things on his bucket list was always to be wrestling in Japan. And he finally gets his chance, and it's going to be huge because he's going for one of those championships over there alongside the Motor City Machine Guns to be in the ring with Okada, Tanahashi, and Ishii. That's pretty damn cool itself. That is taking place on New Japan World, by the way. So if you get a subscription, you'll be able to watch that live if you're up at like usually 2, 3 in the morning. But whatever the case may be, you can always watch it later on. New Japan Pro Wrestling Royal Quest 3 taking place in London, England on the 14th. As I previously mentioned, Ospreay and ZSJ. That is for the IWGP UK, or as most people call it, the US title. That is not listed on New Japan Pro Wrestling World. You'll see the results out there, but I don't know if there's going to be footage of it at all. But that's dream match as well. I know those guys have faced each other in the past, but the fact is to do it at this level of their game, one being the New Japan World TV champ and the other one being the IWGP UK champ, so to speak. It's one of those great matches. Think about it this way: ZSJ. To know, the first time I ever got to see him was at the Cruiserweight Classic, and he wasn't anything special. And to know he is fighting Bryan Danielson on basically pay-per-view, and then 13 days later fighting Will Ospreay, that is insane. And then when you get the tie-ins with Ospreay, so UFC 294, Makachev facing Oliveira 2 on the 21st. Following that, Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory 2023 on the 21st. Shelley taking on Josh Alexander, title on the line, and then Mike Bailey taking on Will Ospreay. Man, it's the amount of great pure wrestling we have nowadays as wrestling fans. When I was there at Forbidden Door, and it was a long night because I had to drive from Toronto back to London, didn't realistically get home till about 3 in the morning, watching that much wrestling that day, and I'd gone to a Smash Wrestling show earlier that afternoon, to getting home, and then basically I still haven't watched it. It's still on the PVR, but I'm going to go one of these days and watch the whole Forbidden Door show in its entirety, as far as being a wrestling fan watching on pay-per-view TV. And just, I'm going to get excited again, even though I've already seen it all. And just to see it on that part of, that side of a wrestling fan on TV as opposed to live. It's what being there live. I mean, it was cool. I've got videos. I would get booted off of YouTube in a heartbeat, but I've got videos of some of the entrances. One of the entrances I didn't record was Bryan Danielson, and I was like, it's just going to be his regular entrance. And he came out the final countdown. I was like, oh, and I even said this to my wife. But with regards to, like I said, the great wrestling we've got going on right now. And sometimes it seems like there's too much, but in every show you watch, whether it's on TV or pay-per-view, PLE, you can pick one match out of that and be a huge fan of that one match. And, when I do my CWN awards at the very end of the year, and you see, match of the year, so to speak, for me personally, what I think I might start doing this year is runners up, or what was in contention, what I thought was great as well. But enjoy wrestling as a fan, enjoy mixed martial arts as a fan. Now, that being said, upcoming Canadian mixed martial arts taking place towards the end of the year. So we're the 30th, so Saturday, Fight League Atlantic number 11 taking place at Hector Arena in Pictou, Nova Scotia, 7:00 p.m. Eastern Time. BTC 2022 battle. See, I need a break. Battle Zone taking place at Burlington Training Center in Burlington, Ontario, 6 p.m. Eastern on the 18th of November. And Fight League Atlantic 12 taking place at the Moncton Coliseum, Moncton, New Brunswick at 7:00 p.m. Atlantic time. That's taking place on the 18th as well. So, guys, if you're in the area of Pictou, Nova Scotia, Burlington, Ontario, or Moncton, New Brunswick, check out your live mixed martial arts. And, guys, if you have mixed martial arts or shows I don't talk about that are coming up local in your area as far as Canada goes, hit me up, Chris at cwnonline.ca, right there on the screen, and let me know, and I'll make sure to promote them on this show here. Yay. I got through that. So yeah, you can hear the raspiness in my voice, so I need a drink. But that being said, I'm going to come back with some Canadian independent wrestling news, as well as highlights, shows coming up as well. But guys, check out this promo from Hammerlock Pure Wrestling, and I'll be back in a minute. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Thank you for very much for watching and listening. If you're watching, listening live, thank you. If you're watching or listening, post show, thank you very much as well. Like I said at the start of the show, I appreciate with regards everybody listening and watching the hits, especially on YouTube. I really appreciate, and it's been fun being back. It's not CWN Weekly, but it is the Throwdown with Chris Maloney, and I'm proud to be doing this. And it was kind of weird last week doing it on the Wednesday because they've been doing it on the Thursdays. And Thursdays, obviously, TNT, Thursday Night Throwdown, as everybody remembers. It was to me, it was always on Thursdays. I used to ask for time off at work, and in the request field, why do you want this day off, or why do you want this night off, whatever the case may be, it was podcast. But that's why it was always on Thursdays. And then Thursday I just got used to, and going right before Impact Wrestling, is very cool because I get to do the show and then watch some Impact afterwards. And Fridays, I might do Friday every now and then with the cold weather coming up, but we'll have to wait and see. Speaking of Fridays, Hammerlock Pure Wrestling every Friday night, Rogers TV, 10 p.m. That is listed on the schedule. After the night's game, after the wrap, nights go long, whatever the case may be, it'll be following that. But they're on the schedule every Friday night, 10 p.m. I know Sean Bates, Hammerlock Pure Wrestling, management member, is very excited about that one there. And like I said last week, I mentioned to him he's like a little kid jumping up and down, being on the same channels in the London Nights, and having his wrestling events on Rogers is pretty damn cool. Dorchester Fair in Dorchester, Ontario, Monday, October 9th, 1 p.m. Free with admission to the fair. That's Hammerlock as well. And then Job Site Brewing Company in Stratford, Ontario, on Saturday, November 4th, 7 o'clock p.m. taking place for them as well. It's interesting when you go through your notes, sometimes you forget to wipe out stuff. And with that being said, sometimes the stuff is there twice. Again, the old age. But if you hear me talking about stuff twice, it's because I was probably, I don't know. Whatever the case is, upcoming Canadian indie events taking place coming up. So LPW times CWS number 7, a prequel to LPW 19, Edmonton, Alberta, taking place tonight. They are Mountain Time in Edmonton, so it's what time is it? 5:47 officially over there. So it's will be tonight, a couple hours. CWE Live taking place Amaranth, Manitoba on the 29th. I was good this week. I went through the Canadian Independent Wrestling listings on my Facebook page and listed everything down. So I've got everything that's needed. I'm not just trying to read half of a sentence. CPW, so Canadian Crossbody Pro Wrestling Uproar Season 2, taping number 3, taking place Cambridge, Ontario. That is taking place tomorrow, the 29th. I list the dates, even though, if it's tonight, it's tonight, because if you're watching this, listening to this post-show a week from now, whatever the case may be, and I say the word tonight, you'd be like, oh, it's like, no, it's not tonight. Oh, it is officially the 28th today, but it's, anyways, you get my point. Anyway, so they're in Cambridge, CBPW on the 29th. LPW 19, Speedball, yes, the one and only Speedball, Mike Bailey, strikes first Edmonton, Alberta. That is on the 29th as well. CW Live and Brokery, Manitoba. I want to see if I pronounced that right. That is on the 30th. ASW Nothing But a Hound Dog. Love that tag. One of my big, whatever reason, when I was in high school, favorite Elvis song. Yes. No, Elvis wasn't around when I was in high school. I'm not that old, but my favorite Elvis song back in high school was Nothing But a Hound Dog. My best friend at the time was a huge Elvis fan, so we'd listen to Elvis stuff. And I think I even wrote it in my high school yearbook about something about a hound dog. But anyways, ASW taking place Abbotsford, BC. I'm going to learn how to talk in the next week. Taking place on the 30th. Ortiz Seminar at Crossbody Studios in Cambridge, Ontario. That's taking place on Saturday the 1st, followed by the 7-year anniversary show featuring Ortiz, Cambridge as well, taking place on the 1st. So that's on, if I said Saturday, I meant Sunday. 1st is Sunday. Barrie Wrestling presents Karma. This is why we can't have nice things in Barrie, Ontario on the 7th. Greektown Wrestling featuring Stu Grayson, taking place in London, Ontario. Yes, London, Ontario, my hometown, on the 13th. Excited about that. Live Pro Wrestling Charity Fundraising Event and Barbecue presented by Joe Dog Hallam, taking place in Goderich, Ontario on the 14th. Greektown Wrestling featuring Homicide, taking place in Hamilton, Ontario on the 14th as well. And we've got Greektown Wrestling featuring Conan taking place in Toronto, Ontario on the 15th. So 3 days of Greektown Pro Wrestling taking place the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Channing Decker does a phenomenal job with regards to Greektown Pro Wrestling, knows how to promote, knows how to do separate shows as well. Obviously, Stu Grace and Homicide Conan being part of the shows, but not on the same shows, which is great, because seeing the show in London means I'm going to see different talent than the shows that are taking place in Hamilton as well as Toronto. And guys, if I didn't list your show, hit me up, Chris at cwnonline.ca, or go to Canadian Independent Wrestling on Facebook, the group. There's a page and there's a group. The page is for the listings. That's where I get all of these events from. When I see it, I add it. If you want to be part of the group, feel free to sign up for the group and then promote anything that has to do with Canadian Independent Wrestling, and you can promote your shows there. But you can get in touch with me, Chris at cwnonline.ca, with regards to shows. If I didn't, say or announce what show's taking place. Multitasking in my head right now. So that being said, as well as the group, I am looking to compile a list of champions. So Canadian Independent Wrestling champions. So if you're a promoter, you're a hardcore fan, if you're a member of the roster and you know the champions, the dates that the championships were won, the cities, everything else, hit me up at Chris at cwnonline.ca. I've had some promoters get in touch with me. Cage match is great as well if I know about a championship but not sure the date or who they fought, whatever the case may be. But yeah, guys, you can check that out, cwnonline.ca. Go to the independent part of it, and then go to champions, and you'll be able to see when the championships are won and who is how long they've been champs and everything else. So I'm looking to compile a big list across Canada with regards to every Canadian independent wrestling promotion. So that's going to be a task. Speaking of tasks, Spencer Love is one of those guys in Canada. He just continues to do great things, and he interviewed with Taylor Rising on the 25th. You can check that out with regards to YouTube. His company LPW show tonight, and then a show tomorrow with Speedball. That should be phenomenal. Wish I could be out there in Edmonton with regards to tomorrow night's show. I love Speedball. If you go on to my social media accounts, Chris Maloney CWN. Some of them have me with Eric Rowan, Eric Redbeard right now. Other ones have me with Maki Ito, and other ones have me with Speedball. So it's I tend to move them around. But big fan of Speedball. Have been for years. Got to see him a numerous amount of times. So enjoy the night tomorrow there, Edmonton, because you're in for a treat. Where are we here? 7:52. 8 minutes to wrap this up. And Wrestling is Life is Wrestling with Cody Deaner, episode number 11, Steve Macklin, part 2. That came out today on platforms everywhere. So, all done. Just going to do the what I call an outro, so to speak. When I say outro, I just mean final thoughts, plugs, whatever the case may be. Something I started last night was starting to get to the list. I shouldn't say last night, officially for me last night. But I've been doing it all week, getting in touch with people with regards to names for the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame class of 2024. So voting, I'm going to get rid of these banners. Oh, geez, I did it again. I've done this new thing where I all of a sudden will get rid of this one area of the screen here on StreamYard, and it kind of throws me off because I'm not used to it. But anyways, Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame presented by CWN class of 2024 takes place officially on, I think, Thursday, January 18th of 2024, definitely January 18th. I believe it's Thursday next year. Voting begins on Wednesday, November 1st, lasts the entire month of November. 9 votable categories. So you've got the legend category, male wrestler category, female wrestler category, tag team category, MMA category, sharpshooter category, siren category, honor category, as well as the perseverance category. And perseverance is you'll notice there's only 2 names in there right now, is because it was a thought that came about in 2022, and so it debuted in 2022. And then the last category, the Just Giver category, is not voted on by the fans. It is dedicated to the one and only Cody Deaner with regards to everything he's accomplished in and outside of the ring. And we took it, quite a few steps further in the past couple of years. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in January as far as the announcement of who's going in for that category there. But guys, like I said, cpwhof.ca, you can check out the website there. You can check out who's been inducted to the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame so far. And it's going to be interesting to see what names, have are going to be voted on with regards to this year, next year's class. And I started going through some of the names last night, and so I've started thinking about other rules and stuff like that as well. So there's been a few people that have been in voting for 3 years straight, and they haven't got in 3 years straight. So I'm thinking, what about if they've been voted on for 3 years straight? There definitely has to be a break in putting them in for a 4th year. So 3 years straight, 1 year break, and then back into it. So I think I'm going to make that official rule, because there's so many names out there. And, if you've been on the ballot for, 3 years straight, and, you haven't been in, then it's time to move on for at least a year or so. There's so many recognizable names in Canada. And as far as all those categories go, it's absolutely insane to see how much talent we have in this country. And, it's interesting because it was a moment where I thought, what can CWN do even more? And, I'm proud of it. And you will see how proud I am of it come January of next year, as well as the whole month of November when I'm doing the promo videos and everything else. So, guys, I'm looking forward to that there. From there, my side project, so to speak, on top of CWN, I think I bit my lip last night because I can feel it. I think that's what's throwing off my speech today. That's the only thing I can think about. I had an energy drink today, but that was like at noon. So I don't think that's still having an effect on me. But yeah, I think I can feel it on my lip. But anyways, guys, my side project beyond CWN, besides Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, besides Canadian Independent Wrestling, besides BMCE Media, of course, is the one and only Wrestling Observer. So Figure 4 online. That being said, I am a contributor to that site. You go to WrestlingObserver.com. You type my name, so Chris Maloney, Handsome Devil, no, just kidding, but Chris Maloney into the field, and you can see all of the recaps I've done, most of them being Impact Wrestling. I have done NXT. I did the Bray Wyatt, Terry Funk tribute show, which wasn't as I wasn't as emotional as I thought I was going to be. I was like, man, I got to write about this and watch this happen. And it's like, but I got through it. Well, long story short, I got a email yesterday with regards to doing 2 more shows for them, and not Impact Wrestling, not NXT either, but WWE. I was like, man, I got to jump at this opportunity. So tomorrow night on WrestlingObserver.com, you'll be seeing me do a live recap. So about 24 hours from now, with regards to WWE Friday Night SmackDown. Looking forward to that. One of my favorite wrestlers all time, Rey Mysterio, is on that show. So, you can't beat that. And then obviously the bloodline, everything goes along with it. So I'll be doing the recap for WrestlingObserver.com tomorrow night, 8:00 p.m. You can follow along with me as well. And with regards to something else, so that was side note number 1. Side note number 2 is WWE Fastlane 2023. I'll be doing the recap for that as well on WrestlingObserver.com. So it'll be my first WWE PLE on the site, but that's October 7th. So look for my recap October 7th for WWE Fastlane on the Observer, as well as SmackDown tomorrow night on WrestlingObserver.com. So excited about that. So new opportunity for me. I'll still be doing Impact Wrestling anytime I'm asked, but it's a huge opportunity for me with regard to WWE, something I've been following for 44 years now. My God, I am old. From there, guys, don't forget National Day for Truth and Reconciliation is on Saturday as well. So take the time to wear orange. International Podcast Day is also on the 30th. I will be doing a podcast that day. With that being said, CWN predicts NXT No Mercy 2023, 3 p.m. CWNonline.ca, but Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. I don't know if I'm going to be doing that one live. It will launch at 3 p.m. regardless, and you will be able to see it on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. But I may have family plans. So with that being said, it may be, a pre-recorded show. Otherwise it'll be live. Any way you look at it, it's going to be 3 p.m. on Saturday, International Podcast Day. And then what should be live on Sunday is CWN predicts AEW WrestleDream 2023. And that is on the Sunday. That'll be 3 p.m. as well. CWNonline.ca, Facebook, Twitch, as well as YouTube, and I'm hoping to do that one live. But 2 prediction shows coming up this weekend, and then episode 5 of the Throwdown with Chris Maloney coming up next week. Not exactly sure what a day I'm going to be doing it yet. Definitely won't be Saturday because I'll be doing the Fastlane recap for the Observer. But Thanksgiving weekend here in Canada, anyways, is next weekend. So it may be a Wednesday, maybe a Thursday show. We'll have to wait and see. But guys, it's been enjoyable. My voice hasn't held out as much as I wanted it to, but whatevs. It's my word. I kind of say around my family is whatevs. It just means, I've enjoyed doing this, and I've enjoyed being back, and all the projects I've got going on, everything else, it's enjoyable. There's that word again, enjoyable. And the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame presented by CWN coming up, so that's going to be enjoyable as well. That being said, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Look for CWN Predicts this coming weekend. Enjoy the PL Leave by NXT, as well as AEW WrestleDream with regards to AEW, their tribute to Antonio Inoki. It's going to be interesting to see what the new era by Tony Khan means. Kind of excited, kind of worried all at the same time, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm hoping they just decide to launch a streaming service. That is my prediction, if I had to predict there. But guys, it's been great. As I always say, thank you very much for watching and listening, and I'll talk to everybody again sometime soon.